Okay, Bismillah, let's start. What we'd like to do now is would like to do some kind of calculations like these. Now, use this postfix expression, and then we just display the value. So we ask the user to give us the postfix expression. We do the calculation based on the algorithm that allows us to do that. Well, we need to use stacks basically, so we can just do this kind of calculation just to know what we need to do manually if we had to do it ourselves. Let's just try to have a look at this. How can I get that value? So first of all, I have my stack, and this is the 5. What I need to do? Yes, yeah, sure. What I need to do is to, every time when I have each one of these characters, I'm going to push them to the stack. So I push 5. But let's try to maybe follow up also this. So we create an empty stack. That's what we had to do. Read the postfix expression as a string. That's what we have. And then where there are more characters in the string, which means we're going to read the string one by one. So as long as there are some characters to read, we're going to get inside and ask: is the current operator is current character is an operand? What's an operand? It's not an operator. Yes. So it's the number for us. That's the operand. So if it's a number, we're going to convert to int and push it into the stack. So this is what we're going to do. So in this case, we have this 5. It's a number. It's not an operator. If it's not an operator, we push it to the stack. So that's 1, 5. We push. Then this next one, not an operator. We push again. And then we reach an operator. Okay. What if if it's an operator? We just pop the stack. We store it into operand 1. So then we have this. Someone is typing. I don't know why he's typing. And then you pop again, and then this is you store that in operand number 2, and then you do the operation, which is, what's the operation for us? Is the plus. So I need to do this 9 plus 5. The result is 14. What am I doing with this 14? Push the result into the stack. So this, now when I push, can you stop typing the keyboard, touching the keyboard? I push the 14. Now I will end up having, now this is my new stack. It's going to be empty and then having only 14. Then I take that, another number, I push it again. So I push. And then there's an operator again. So I need to pop, this goes here, this goes there, and a multiply. And this is going to be 2 multiplied by 14, 28. What am I doing is 28. Put it back to the stack. So I'm having now 28 in the stack. And I'm going to push 6, push 5, and then the multiply, which means I need to pop 5, pop 6, so I have 5 and 6, multiply, because that's what I have, that's 30. What am I doing with this 30? Push it again, and then another operator. Okay, pop 30 and pop again, so we have 30, 28 that we multiply or add. We add. So this is going to give us the 58 that we're looking for. Do we push it again? Well, yeah, because we're not going to stop, because every time when we have the result, we push it. Yeah, once we push it, then what happens? But there are no more characters in the string. When there are no more characters in the string, the result now is in the pop. So I need to pop. This is my stack now. It only has the result. So when I finish the loop and there's no more strings, I need to do this: pop the result from the stack and print it. Well, so now that's the plan. Let's implement that plan. Are you seeing this on your screen now? Okay, so let's use another one. I'm just creating another class, which we call it test postfix expression evaluation. So I'm going to evaluate the postfix, and I don't want to type this, so I paste it. So I also don't want to type this, because now I would like to read a postfix expression, and then that's the expression, and this is the next line this time, because I would like to read the whole thing, and I put that in the expression. So now that I have this, I need also a stack of ints. So how to have a stack of ints? So I'm going to use this DLL stack of integer numbers, and this is my stack new then what I need to do is to read the postfix expression as a string. I did. Now, while there are more characters in the string, so how can I know that there are more characters in the string? While there are more characters, do I need to use a while or a for? Because the for is more convenient to me. I need to check one character at a time. But I don't want to have spaces, right? So if there's a space, I don't need that, right? But I just need to get the numbers. Now, let's just assume now, for simplicity, that the user, when he types, well, you need. If we don't put the space, how can we know? But let's just assume, for now, that there are no spaces, and then later on see what we need to just change so we can deal with the spaces. Actually, it's kind of easy to deal with the space, but just let's see. Now we start with I is equal to 0, expression dot length is going to give me how many, and then now I'm doing this, I'm repeating this as long as I have a character. Now what I could do now this is what I need to do to check one character at a time, assuming that there are no spaces. But if there is a space, what I would like to do is just skip and continue. So if, for example, now I'm going to say expression dot char at the specific I is equal to a space. Well, this is a char, so I should use something like this. If it's equal to a space, just skip the rest. Remember the continue. Yes. What it does, it just doesn't continue execute what's below this. It just goes to a next iteration, which means after this, it just increments the I and move to the next one. So if I find a space, just skip it, go to the next one. If somebody put 2 spaces, skip twice and just move on. And that's how I can manage having spaces in it. Now I can have an else, or just deal with it, or else if, or whatever. Now, because if it's not here, what I need to do, I need to check if it's an operator or an operand. Well, basically I just need to ask a question: if the expression dot char at that I is equal to a plus, or if it's not equal to a plus, or to whatever, to a plus, and I could do this like that, right? and not equal to a minus. That's how I know it's not an operator, right?
Also, there is I found something that's tell you if it's a number, if it's a number or not. Like if it's a number, it's gonna be true. It's not. It's gonna stop.
Well, yes. What is it?
Character dot digital.
So character dot
Digital.
is alphabetic,
Yeah,
is digit.
it is the bottom one, the down one. Down. Yeah.
What?
Then
No, this is an int. It needs code point. What is the code point? What is the difference between this one and this one? What we would like to get is to this. Now, you're right, we could use that. I wanted to do it manually, but this is something that we could also use. Because if it's a number, I can do something like this, and this should be, I'm giving it to the expression char at this I. So this char at I is going to be the character, and I'm asking, if it's a digit, then this becomes true. And if it's true, I'm going to do whatever this is. I need to push this
Change it to int and then push.
because my stack is a stack of int. Where is it? Here. My stack is a stack of int. So I need to stack dot push. But what am I pushing? The expression dot char at this I. Now this needs to be converted to an int. I need to use integer dot parse int, but then this needs a string, but this is not a string because char at is going to give me a char. So how to convert this to a string? So I need this to be converted to a string, so this char should become a string so I can convert it to an int, because the sparse int is what it needs. This is char, a string, it takes string and string with something else, but it takes a string. Now there's an easy way. If I do something like this, it will become a string, and I'm just adding empty text. Or if I want to do it the formal way, there's a string dot value of. So this is going to convert it to a string. So this is going to give me the char, convert it to a string, to convert it to an int, so you can push it. Yes.
Can I make a variable and put the component shot and change this variable to
What do you mean? What variable? What's the data type of that variable?
string
String
or value?
variable. And what do you put in it?
So expression point shot.
This one?
Yeah.
Char at.
And then put the
Hold on, but there's before the then, we need to fix this.
same.
So it's the same thing. You just add a new variable. Yes.
The integer with first int. The other methods can take two parameters. One is a string, the second one is the index. Can we do it here?
The other one is what?
Take two parameters, one is
Like
string
the-
and one is index.
It's not an index. It's a radix. So
So we cannot use this one.
it's not. Yeah. The first argument is whatever. The radix is either smaller than character mean radix or larger than character mean radix. But what is that? I have not. I don't know what it is. So what is the radix? I have no idea. And that's why let's see. Pass the string argument as a signed integer into the radix specified by the second argument. Oh. Maybe this is if you would like it to be in like in octal or something like that. Returns a non-negative value except that the first should be as okay, or Number for is thrown. The first argument radix is, what is the minimum radix? Minimum radix is 2, and max radix 36. I honestly don't know what this is all about, and I don't want to investigate. I don't want to, because it doesn't seem to help me. It converts the text to a number that respects some kind of condition. I'm not looking into that kind of thing. I just want this to be just a number. So I don't need to use. Now what he was trying to say, he was trying to make this simpler by putting the I in there, right? That's what you were thinking about. But this does not extract from a string. It just give it a string, and then it gives you the conversion of that string. So anyways, this means that we get the char. We convert the char to a string. Why? Because to convert this to an int, we need to convert to a string, and that is the int that I'm pushing. So it's a lot of methods. But anyways, it serves the purpose of converting to int and push it to the stack. So I'm pushing it to the stack and I'm converting to an int. Now, if it's not the case, then if it's an operator, so how do I know it's an operator? Anyway, this else if is not really needed, but anyways, because this unnecessary. Well, anyways. So if what? So how can I know that this is now? To know if it's a number, we just add is a digit, and then we were able to handle it. What if? Now I'd like to know if it's an operator. So what are the operators? We need to check if they're equal to one of these. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what I can it's if this is equal to this, or that is equal to, but it doesn't make sense. I'm not going to do this in the if. It's going to be a very long if, but it will make sense if I put this into some kind of a method that I'm going to make it private boolean, which is going to be is operator. So I give it a char because that's what I'm going to now this char is what I'm going to send, because I'm sending char at, and then I'm going to return if it's an operator or not. How do I know? I'm going to do if this value is equal to a plus, or the value is equal to a minus, and just copy and paste basically, or the value is equal to multiplication, or division, or mother division. Then I'm going to return true, else return false. So now this is operator is going to work this way. I'm going to ask, is this an operator? And in the here it will return true if it's an operator. And now it tells me there's a problem. What's the problem? What does it mean? So this should be, because it's called from the main, so it should be static. And now it's okay. Yes.
Can we like use like the first one, it's addition, just pop the two numbers, add them, push them again. Each one each operation I make it alone.
You can do that, yeah, it's possible. Yeah. But anyways, each one of them has advantages and disadvantages. This might be much clearer because you say, okay, this is an operator, we need to do this. But yeah, you're right, it's possible. Okay, so now we ask this question. It's an operator. Now let's just pop to the operand 1, operand 2, and do the operation. Now let's how to do that is going to be nice. I need to declare operand, or maybe just number 1 and number 2, which is stack pop, and number 2 we pop. So I pop the number 1, pop the number 2, and then this is my operator. Now I need another result. The result is well, I assume it's an int.
Equal number 1, then we put experiment short at
Number 1 and
period.
what do you mean?
Number 2.
Plus? What do you want to do?
We should put the experience.
Now we need to convert this to either a plus or a minus or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I cannot just do that immediately. I need to ask a question. If the expression dot char at this I is going to be equal to a plus, then I know that the result, I'm going to just do it like this, and the result should be number 1 plus number 2. Then I need to do else if. Else if what? If it's a minus, then I'm going to do this as a minus. And a lot of copy paste. If it's multiplication, if it's division, if it's moderate division. And I'm going to just
The division and should be number 2 divide number 1.
Number 2 should
it's always number 1, number 2.
No, because when we pop the last one, that's
Okay, because you see, well, it's pops, it says I pop into the operand 1. So for example, if I have 8 for division,
yeah,
what should I divide? 8 by 4, right?
yeah, 8 by 4. But
So when I'm popping 4,
yeah,
and then I'm putting it in number 1, so I'm going to divide 4 by 8 now, which means this is not okay. I should put this to be number 2 and this to be number 1,
yeah, that's okay.
and now it's going to work.
Yeah, because even in the slide we said result equal operate 2 1.
But here it's not alright.
No, down. He put 2 then 1. So at the top, result assign operate 2.
Oh, okay. So this operate 2 plus 1. So, well, yes. So we flip them. Instead of using 1 and 2, we just use 2 and 1. So we could do this, or basically leave it like that and do 2 here and 1, which is basically the same. But since we started like that, so just 2, 1, and then we have in this way number 1, number 2, number 1, number 2. So we have this division and model division. Notice one thing. This is an n divided by n. The result is going to be an n. So this is not really going to work well when the division will have some kind of decimal value. If I want this to work, then I need to convert that, instead of having it to an integer, to make it double. And basically the only thing that I need to change them, instead of parse int, is parse double. And instead of doing this being, int, it's going to be double and the double result. And now it's nice. It's going to work all the way around. So it tells me, well, you could use a switch, I think. I want to switch, but I'm not interested. Which means now we can convert this to a switch, which basically is the same, but takes longer. It looks longer. And then when I'm done with this, I have done the operation. I need to push the result to the stack, which means after doing all these things, I need to push stack dot push that result.
After the loop is done,
I'm sorry.
After the
push.
loop.
The push. You
This
do it after the for loop, right?
which for loop?
But
Now I'm here. I'm inside this. That means if it's an operator, I need to do the calculation and then push it.
okay.
So now I'm just trying to see why variable might not have been initialized. Well, it says like maybe because I did this, maybe none of this is going to be the result. So I need to put some kind of value, and I'm initializing it, and that's now not a problem. So you had a question, yes?
If the number 2 0.
If the number 2,
We can't divide.
what do you mean number 2
one.
is 0? Yeah, well, yeah, true. If the number 2 is 0, then this is going to raise an exception. That's true, that's right. So let's just put some kind of an if else here, or just an if. I can just do that with just an if I find it, yes. So now I say if the number 2 is different from 0, then I can do that, else, well, else nothing, because else it will stay as 0. So I don't need to put anything, I'm going just to display 0. Or should I throw an exception? Well, there's another story. Well, let's not get too deep into that. And we just want this to convert without looking at two extreme cases, the special cases. The main point is just to use the stack. But yes, there's something here. Now, for us, if the second, when we divide by the second number, and if it's 0, we're going to just return 0. If it's not, then we divide. And then we push the stack, and then we're done. Now that means now after I finish, after I get out here, and the last thing that is going to be in the stack is the result. So I'm going to say the result is, or should I just return it? What is this? I mean, this is the main. Okay, so
We need both the
the result is, and then stack
Pop.
dot pop. And let's test it. Are you ready? Shift F6, enter a postfix expression, and then it's 5, let's say 5, 9 plus 2 multiplication, 6, 5 multiply plus. The result is 58. Wonderful. Isn't that nice? Now the 24, let's test. 6, 2 plus 6, 2 plus 5, 8, 4. Divide minus multiply. And it's 24. And let's just test the other one, 6, 2. And you can also use that without a space. 6, 2, because this is what it does. Plus 5 multiplied by 8, 4, and divided minus. So even if we don't use spaces, because we just take one character, so it's not going to look at this means 62 plus, because there's a limitation in our code, is that our code will work with only numbers that have, I mean, one digit. If you have more, it doesn't work. So that's the idea. Anyways, but it's a simple version. If you'd like to deal with it, now the space is not going to be, the space is going to be where we know that the number has ended. So if I have this number, another number after that, that means it's still the same number. But let's not go fancy about that. Is that okay? So it's not that complicated, but it needs just to not get confused. Now, if you look for confusion, there's this algorithm that we spoke about yesterday, but it's kind of, I mean, very briefly, which is how to convert from infix to postfix, which basically I added this to the lab04.zip, and also I added it in the Blackboard, the file. So this is going to, I mean, show you how to convert from an infix to a postfix, which means if I'd like to do something like this, or if I'd like to make it fancy, 5 plus 2, divide by 2, I mean, plus 7 multi division and 2 plus 5, whatever. So this whole thing going to be converted to 5 2, then plus, then 2, then divide. That's what is going to happen. Then 7 2 5, and then the plus, because we just add the 2 to the 5, and then we do the multi division with the results, and we add the remaining numbers. So it converts from that. I mean, the algorithm to do that is, I mean, this is to postfix, this is the one. So it takes a string as an infix and it uses the stack, and if it's a digit, then it does just add the digit. If it's opening a parenthesis, it's pushed, and if it's an it's not an operator, it says this is operator. This is basically the same thing that we've been doing. So it's a lot of pushing and pushing. If it's not empty, if it's empty, whatever it's, and if you get the top element, if it's a parenthesis, it's a lot of. If you're interested into knowing how to convert that, you can dive in here, but just get put your seatbelt on. But I mean, it's possible using a stack, and just using this push and pop, and you can see there's a lot of pushes and conditions when you're going to push and pop, and that's the main idea. But now I have put also some extra exercises if you want to practice more about those, which is something I took from the book. Basically, just reverse the order of a stack using 2 additional stacks, or just one, or just one stack and some variables, non-array variables, and it's just some kind of stack manipulation thing. So if you're interested into making sure that you get the topic right, you should go for this. These are the first 3 exercises of the book anyways. But as you can see, it's a lot.